Hey everybody! Have I got a powerhouse of an archetype to introduce you to today? So I've tagged a few people in. Hopefully we'll see who can be here live. If you have any questions about anything I share about the Inspirer Believer, please let me know either with a comment below or just tag me in a post in the group. So the Inspirer Believer archetype, sometimes referred to as the Inspired Believer, which is okay. Her name is the Inspirer Believer, but the fact that you get that inspiration is a key thing for her is the most important thing about the Inspirer Believer. She's got a fiery energy, which you can see in the image here. She is expansive, she's fun, she's energetic. So I often refer to her as the cheerleader archetype. She is an archetype that I see in so many coaches, and I'm not surprised because it takes a certain aspect of personality to be able to work in a coaching capacity with others. So that whole being able to see someone's potential and want them to rise to it is a gift that the Inspirer Believer brings to the world. I have so many Inspirer Believers in my life, but certainly in my business community and in this amazing group, and the women that I connect with in other groups and other places. You know, when I'm talking about working with my mentor, my coaches, there's Inspirer Believers everywhere. I can see you, ladies. My visionary creator can see you. But the telltale things about an Inspirer Believer that makes it very easy to spot one is that she is the woman out there who is putting an optimistic, positive, fun spin on everything, no matter what the scenario is. Now, remember, this isn't the only archetype you'll have, so it doesn't mean that you're going to be all optimistic all of the time. Depending on your other archetypes and what the energy levels of your Inspirer Believer actually are, will impact how much you can be in that space of being the cheerleader, of seeing the potential in someone or something, of wanting to bring the excitable energy to whatever it is that you're contributing to and being a part of. This is an archetype that uses the word excitement and excite and excited on a frequent basis. She will share gifts all over the place. She'll share positive quotes, a fabulous, as I said, an optimistic spin on things. It's just what the Inspirer Believer does. I know for me, as an Inspirer Believer, it was the early phase of me creating the Thrive Factor framework and the 12 archetypes that platforms like Facebook and other social media platforms came to be a reality in a way in which we can communicate with each other across the world. For Inspirer Believers, this was a good thing. Well, as I said, energy, I'm going to talk about that in a bit more in a moment. Well, energy is a key thing for the Inspirer Believer, and an Inspirer Believer can get drained by the amount of energy she's putting out with her need to go and cheer and support everybody else. Platforms like Facebook were a good thing. As I said, Inspirer Believers see the potential in others. They have a huge desire for you to see your potential in yourself and to rise to that potential, even go beyond it. Like, this is the whole energy of the Inspirer Believer. It's one of my archetypes. I do it very well. It's a very effortless archetype for me to have and to live with and to express in my work and in my life. Even my elder nieces talk about me being the cheerleader who makes everything positive all the time. I wouldn't say everything positive all the time, but that's their view in their, teenage years of who I am as their auntie. And I love that. They're seeing my Inspired Believer and meeting her. But when it comes to, as I said, social media, this is a great platform because we can share the things that excite us, that motivate us, that have inspired us. And we can share it with maybe one person in a message, or we can share it with a group. We can share it literally in groups because Facebook, as for one example, has groups just like this one as a platform. We can, think about Instagram and other, some of the video kind of more driven platforms that, where we can come and we can share and we can show our excitement, we can show our energy, we can bring that to life. And it doesn't matter so much about the external feedback that we are receiving. Because one of the ways that Inspirer Believers can have her energy zapped or have our energy zapped is when we receive feedback that is not in support of the thing that's excited us. Yeah? It's like dramatic, because inspired believers can be very dramatic, but I often will talk to an inspired believer about the, you've put this thing out in the world, or you've told your friend or your partner or someone in your life about this new exciting thing you've just discovered or learnt or been inspired by or created or whatever that is. And you tell someone with all this like bubbly energy, and they're like, that's a bit weird, or I wouldn't do that, or do you really think you should do that? Or, that's a bit over the top. Like, these are the kinds of responses inspired believers often get to their often very overwhelming amounts of energy and enthusiasm. And that kind of feedback, or someone rolling their eyes going, oh God, goodness, here she goes again. There's another thing she's going to go on about or into. And like last week she was into this thing and now it's a whole new thing again. That's the kind of feedback. I've received that so much in my life from people that I really wanted to support me in a different way, but that wasn't what happened. But it feels like a dagger to the heart. That's why I said we're in a dramatic kind of response. But it's so devastating to think that somebody, particularly if it's someone important to us that we've shared with, isn't interested or can't see why we would get so excited about something. So, inspired believers, spend time with other inspired believers. That's a key to you supporting your ability to be the inspirational woman you want to be, and to really celebrate how inspired you get all the time, right? Now, this is a positive energy drive for an inspired believer. When I spend time with the inspired believers in my network, which I said there are so many of them, both from a personal perspective and in my business world, so many of you, it's such a good thing for me, because I feed positively off the energy that you bring, the excitable, energetic, possibility kind of potentiality driven optimism. Just like you will also feed positively off that from me, and together we can support each other and rise rather than feeling depleted by everything else that's going on. And in the world with what it's like right now, we need some sparkle. At my business retreat, the last one that I ran, which was in May of this year, had a beautiful group of women together in person, which was very special. And I certainly know that is not something that can happen in other parts of the world as much as we'd all love it to. But there was definitely, there was some sharing, there was some heavy stuff, there's some emotional stuff, and my inspired believer can put a positive, optimistic, inspiring spin on anything. And I won't share exactly what I said, but it was on the lines of I can put sparkle, or I can put glitter on anything that doesn't feel so fabulous. So I won't swear. It's not really part of my brand and who I am. But yeah, that's the kind of energy of the inspired believer. And I love that about what I do. It's not unrealistic. When I share something optimistic and positive and upbeat and uplifting, it's done from a place of genuine belief. And I'm going to talk about the believer part in a moment. It's not done from I'm just doing this to make you feel better. It's not done from I feel awkward about what's going on, so I just need to bring some light to the whole experience, the energy, the conversation, and whatever it is. When it comes from an inspired believer, it comes from a true, genuine belief in the possibility, in the potentiality, in the energy, in the vibe, in the inspiration. Inspired believer, the believer part of the inspired believer, talks to the fact that this is an archetype that is driven by strong belief systems. And I say systems because it's never just one belief system. The inspired believer can have a mix of different things that really guide her. It may be some of the kinds of beliefs that she's brought through from childhood or from her family or her culture. It may be beliefs that have come through and things, learnings, frameworks, systems, understandings, all of whatever that looks like in terms of a belief system that she could have learnt from watching, a masterclass, listening to a webinar or a podcast, reading a book, seeing a meme that's been shared on social media somewhere, but something that informs her and helps her to understand who she is and her place in the world. They're the belief systems that inspired believers adopt, and they adopt them fully. It's not like that's a nice thing to know. If an inspired believer is going to adopt something from a belief system perspective, she's going to throw herself in fully and completely in the most divine way. That can take up a lot of energy and a lot of time as she does that, but she's so committed to understanding, to learning, to sharing, to excitably letting others know about what it is that this thing that she's discovered that's helped her make sense of something or feel better about something, whatever that looks like. But inspired believers can move very quickly, and that can be part of the challenge of of managing and working with energy. Energetics and energy has been talked about so much, increasingly so, I would say in the last 18 months, more than I've ever seen. 12 to 18 months. And I'm not surprised, because there's also a rise of inspired believers in the world who are realizing that their energy can be up here, like off the scale, or it also can be very, very low. And it can feel like it goes from one extreme to the other. So it's important for an inspired believer to understand her energetic triggers or her energetic activators, and to really work with those, not to be like on an even keel, because that's just not the way that inspired believers exist in the world. They move in flow, we move up and down. But what you want to minimize, if you can, is the extreme high, because it can be really draining, really tiring, even if it's been the most incredible experience. And you don't want to end up in the extreme low, a place that I call the mojo-less moments. Because those moments could be a fleeting moment, or it could last days or weeks or months even. And in those times, you can feel like there's no point doing what you're doing. You know, this is when I hear inspired believers as clients or in my group program say to me, I don't know why I'm bothering. Like, I just should throw it all in. Like, no one's even, watching what I'm doing or following, or no one's signing up. And they want to give up on themselves and what they've created and what they're bringing to the world. And yet the greatest gift that an inspired believer can bring to herself and to others is to be inspired by exactly who you are, what you're creating and what you're putting into the world. To focus on being inspired by you will bring more inspiration. Inspired believers will talk about wanting to be inspirational, wanting to be an inspirational, wanting to be admired or acknowledged, or, those kinds of energy, that kind of language that they'll use. However, it's a very humble archetype. And when they start to receive, and I say they, but including myself here, they start to receive feedback on how inspirational they truly are, they can find that a very awkward space to be in. And an inspired believer said in that beautiful, true, humble heart that she's got, full of belief and full of inspiration and full of potentiality, she'll often reply with, but that's just what I do, and sort of dismiss it, push that beautiful piece of feedback, I can't even find the right words to say, but all of that fabulous positive energy that someone's given you by giving you a piece of love, that you're an inspiration, or whatever words that they've used. You're so motivating, you're so amazing, I could never do what you do, I'd love to be like you are. Those are the kinds of words that inspired believers have heard their whole life. But they are so good at pushing them away. So if that's something that makes sense to you, in terms of you've had all of that, you want to be an inspiration, but you're also a bit like, but who am I to be that? Let that go, ladies, and really focus in on, I am an inspiration. Start by allowing yourself, celebrating yourself, to be inspired by who you are, what you're creating, what you're putting into the world. And accept whatever kinds of feedback you get from anybody out there. Celebrate that. Take it on board, listen to it, know that it is the truth with which someone has shared that with you. They could also be an inspired believer. Doesn't matter what their combination of archetypes are. But that is going to help you to really work with your energy, so you can find that beautiful flow and have enough energy to show up and to be the inspirational woman that you desire to be able to support your clients if you're coaching or mentoring or guiding or teaching or whatever it is that you're doing, to work one-on-one with someone or work with a group of people. It doesn't matter what it looks like, but to be able to also to honor your beliefs and the importance of beliefs to you, because they guide you, they support you, they help you navigate the world and bring this fiery, beautiful dynamic of energy to life every single day. So inspired believers, I reckon that you probably have recognized yourself in that archetype if you don't yet know what your Thrive Factor archetypes are. As I said, if you have any questions, any comments, any aha moments, anything at all, stories about being an inspired believer, please pop them in a comment below or let me know. I would love to hear from you. And I look forward to getting back on track and sharing more of the archetypes moving forward. Have a beautiful rest of your day.